Let's deep dive into the T-bone of the century between Jett and Justin Barcia. Bam, bam, no pun intended. That was awful. We'll also highlight what happened between the Red Cross incident, along with some key mistakes by some podium contenders. We'll start off with the crazy antics of Justin Barcia. And yes, I am saying that. Look at how hot he is coming in here. He is nose wheeling straight into Jett. Jett has the wherewithal to have eyeballs on the side of his head to move his leg out of the way to make sure that he just doesn't get creamed and his kneecap explode. Yes, is this a racing incident? 100% it's a racing incident. However, when two cars run yellow lights, potentially there could be a catastrophic accident there. That might not be the best analogy here. It was just the wrong place, wrong time. If I had to put any blame on either rider, it would be Justin Barcia, because he was coming in way too hot and he was cutting off 3/4 of the corner. This track marker arguably should have been 5 to 10 feet closer to the inside, because watch Barcia almost cut the track. Look at that. Look at that. He is cutting off a darn good portion of it. This is basically what Webb was trying to do on a 90-degree corner, where they've got these giant pylons to prevent riders from jumping across the track here. But it works perfectly in the example of these S-turns, because that to me is, woo, that was meant to definitely make passes. That was a hidden line to make passes here because of how far away this was from the actual corner here. Should you penalize a rider for having a racing incident? And in my unpopular opinion, I believe that, yeah, there should be some repercussions with overly aggressive riding. And especially when you have a rider that is known to be overly aggressive. These two riders right here, especially. The point of the rules and the point of the race director and the AMA is to protect the riders. And yes, okay, it is a racing incident, because if I go back to this replay, you've got Jett cutting down, but he is making a pass or trying to set one up from his brother. He's the fastest rider on the track. He, for crying out loud, has the red plate. It was the first lap. It is where riders are fluctuating all over the place. You're trying to find a line here. So guys usually are a little bit more cautious. And with that being said, maybe Jett shouldn't have cut down, because it was, again, the wrong place, wrong time. But how do you know somebody's going to come in ninth gear pinned to cut 3/4 of the track and T-bone you? Freeze made the corner just fine. And the argument there is Freeze was going to T-bone Barcia. I don't think Barcia meant to go in there and to kill Jett. No, he didn't. 100% he didn't. But did that happen? Yes, it did. And because it happened, there should be some sort of a potential fine or warning. And I'm okay with you guys debating me on that deal. It literally has asterisks saying here, offenses for aggressive, reckless riding covered the entire season. I would name this as reckless riding. 100%. And here, we'll hear the apology from Barcia, because yes, it is important to highlight that he did not mean to do this. But did it happen? Yes. And was Jett somewhat in the wrong by running the yellow light, by cutting down low? Yes.
Quick. Yeah, I'm sure everyone's seen the crash already, and you know, anyone who knows dirt bikes knows that was a racing incident and not intentional by any means. Yeah, it was such a bummer. Early on in the laps, you're just racing hard, and I came in super hot. Jett cut down, and it was a wrong place, wrong time situation. Spoke to Jett after the race. He completely understood what happened. He knew I didn't do that intentionally, but I felt like I wanted to go over to the Honda truck and talk to the whole crew. And yes, everyone was obviously really upset on our.
Good on Justin Barcia for being a man, taking it in the chin, being humble. There is massive amounts of respect throughout the whole moto community, myself included. I will say, though, because of previous antics, This to me is aggressive, reckless riding. It is lap 1. You know, riders are doing all sorts of stuff. Yes, Jett did in fact cut down. He was racing. Barcia was racing. Freeze was racing. Yes, you could argue all those things. I am just putting the pieces together between A, you have a rider that is known for this stuff. 2, he was coming in way too hot, which he should know better. Jett, should he have known better to drop down? Possibly, but I'm going to say no because this wasn't a problem the rest of the time. Barcia was going in there so hot that there was no way that he was going to even make the inside. Even if he was aiming for it, he was headed straight to cut everybody off there. Just for that sheer point, I say that there needs to be a conversation at the very least. Don't fine him, whatever. Just put a warning out there, right? Unpopular opinion. Moving the freak on. So there's another problem with this whole scenario with the red cross flag where it is just stagnant and then the checkered flag is waving and you could almost get away with they didn't even need it because Freezy is out of the way. So you could just have a caution flag per se. With that being said, the rules do state that if there's a red cross flag in a triple crown and there's no advantages, it's 2 positions and 4 positions for riders like Jason Anderson that ended up doing it on the white flag lap and also the checkered flag lap. In AMA's defense, if they didn't do something like this, if they didn't keep the penalty and Freeze really did need the attention, it could have been way more catastrophic, a million times worse for the sport and the viability of the confidence in the medical personnel and how they run things. But yes, this is obviously a serious problem where there should be some change. Everyone should realize that, hey, multiple riders got fined. Tomac got the best advantage of it because, you know, he was able to follow the rules, but there should be these lights on the finish line. And I will go one further because look, here's lights after over this little checkup bump. They have them on there. Why don't they have them on all the triples? They should have it on the 3rd biggest jump on the track, which is the finish line. Because look at all these guys. They're just racing. They're having a hard time seeing it. It's understandable that everyone is pissed off about it and unhappy. The latter, if they didn't do anything, it could have been way, way worse. So I am with AMA for having those penalties and good on them. But as a good friend of mine, this was one of his reaction posts immediately after the race. So you have 5 of the best riders on the planet Earth all doing the exact same thing, and somehow it makes sense that it's on them. You have an official waving the white flag and then the checkered flag while keeping the red cross flag static. The AMA has a serious problem when it comes to flags, and no one seems to want to do anything about it. At some point, they need to actually acknowledge that their system doesn't work, figure it out. This is a professional sport. I do agree, but I also disagree as well. I agree that things should be changed to the point where there should be lights on the finish line. There should be radios. There should be a race director that is able to talk to all the teams, that be able to tell the riders, hey, you've got a red cross incident on the checkered flag. Slow down. Give every single flagger all the flags, the black flag, the blue flag, the red cross flag. I believe some of them don't have all of them. So therefore, you couldn't wave a red cross flag to let guys know that, hey, there's something coming up here. You know, the same thing with pit boards. How many times have we heard riders not read the pit boards because they have no idea what it says? It's just this quick thing out. They don't have time to look at it. Yes, there's argument that radios could cause distractions, but if you have one clear guy able to go, hey, red cross flag, finish line, goes out to all the riders, boom, done with. You can turn off the radios from the team manager if you want to. There could be a way to test it and figure it out. There's multiple ways of going about this, and it is up to AMA and Feld and the sport itself to not stand for certain instances like these to be acceptable, because it is a professional sport. So have lights on there. There's definitely some solutions out there. Just start implementing them. Enough said about that issue. I want to know what you guys believe in the comments below. And if this is adding value in any way, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification icon. And if you want to go one further, well, you can hit that join button on my page so that you can get some added perks, some videos early. I'm making some big changes that is yet to come, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So you want to know what caused the bike malfunction in Ken Roczen's bike? Well, I believe it was this. He just didn't know how to lay down, as Oldenburg ends up casing one of the jumps and causing a reaction between all the riders, where Kenny ends up, after putting his foot down and then doing a can as his bike is leaned over on Jett's to stand completely up. And as the bikes are flipping around him, he gets around Oldenburg. Sexton, the much bigger rider, ends up losing his balance and falling. And Kenny's able to remount and ultimately finish the race, but the motorcycle was sincerely compromised after what looks to be something like the swing arm, pipe, rear tire of the Honda putting a puncture hole in that Suzuki. If we look at this from another angle, you can see Oldenburg trying to triple and just frames it and does the Jordan Smith thing with smacking his head and chest on that crossbar, and he's not able to keep it up, and that's what caused the whole incident. And here you can see AC and his ankle get bent backwards, and for that, I believe he's got some sort of a boxer's knuckle injury, but on the ankle, where it's a ligament deal, where it's going to be sore. It may require surgery, but it is going to hurt him the rest of the season. So this is unfortunate for AC, because he's had so many just weird circumstances happen in his career, from losing the 250 championship to being one of the top prospects in the 450 class to just being a darn good rider that just is plagued by bad luck. It's unfortunate. Well, until next time, make sure you stay tuned and keep it WFO. Barada.